Thanks for staying with us. So yesterday, the Southern Governors Forum meeting was held, and they came to quite a number of agreements, which we discussed during the paper review. One of which was that the next president must come from the South. And they also said quite a few things on the electoral process, especially with the new bill that we're trying to get the National Assembly to pass this July. What are your thoughts on exactly the issue of electoral process? You can call us on 081-270-53687. You can also call us on 901-390-76948. You can also send us messages. We're concerned about the few things they mentioned, and I'd like to read some of it to you. One that stuck out to me was the fact that they want a cap on the nomination forms. You know how different parties, 50 million, 20 million, they said there should be a uniform cap on the cost of nomination forms from political parties. They're asking that the electronic results from polling unit centers must be to a dedicated server. They're also saying that reducing the net spent on elections, asking a senatorial candidate to spend 1.5 billion is putting money over service. And for a presidential candidate to be able to spend 15 billion is selling your democracy for money. They also said that they must return the electronic system into the bill. Okay, so we're going to be having our guest who's going to be joining us to shed more light on how best, because we know that this month, we're told the National Assembly will be passing this new bill, the amended bill. And we'd like to get what are the things we want to be in this bill. Our guest, I'm told, is not yet here, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on, Nima, would you like to start your thoughts on what the governors agreed at the meeting concerning the electoral process?
One of the things that they agreed about was, the Electoral Act, the removal of the electronic transmission from the Act. We had looked forward to this amendment for accents. At the time it was done when the president returned it for certain amendments at the initial stage before the last elections, and it wasn't done. And this was a major part of the Electoral Act amendment at the time. So now that they have passed it into law, and that integral part that allows, for certain people to carry a much more number of people was taken out. Also, the diaspora community are not given an opportunity, if the electoral transmission of results and electoral voting is not included, to join this vote. So for me, that worries me. And I like the fact that the governors are speaking. But I would love that the governors, because they are governors, use their reps in the lawmaking agencies. So we have our senators, 3 for each state. We have number of local governments, or number of honorables per, I think 700 and something of them in the House of Reps that we need to push to achieve the change that we need. So I think the governors should now start to individually invite their representatives in the National Assembly to do the right thing. This act, I don't know how it was passed. I don't know how the voting was done. Of course, we know that there's no balance in the numbers, because some states have too many local governments that they don't have people to reflect. And we need to start to call them to question. So I think that's what they should do beyond this communique that they have released. Also, the communique from the Governors Forum in Delta State and this one in Lagos, I just have a few differences.
Okay, let me come to Nibisi. What are your thoughts on what was
electoral reforms? Yeah. So, the excitement initially was the fact that we'll have a lot of youth participation when it comes to being able to vote electronically and results counted. But I really do not understand the fear of our leaders by taking that out of it. So it's a bit discouraging. And I also would have loved to see, independent candidacy as part of what has been put into these new electoral reforms. Because, not every, we say we want young people to get into power, but not every young person can afford to even buy the ticket in the political party. So if you now give room where it has to be done with money, whether it's 1.5 billion or whatever it is, it's going to limit a lot of people from getting into, that political space. Okay. So for me, I think the reform should include more. I think we have not really scratched it. We really want to change. I'm told that
our guest, actually, there's a protest going on right now at the National Assembly, and our guest is right there with our reporters. Hello, sir, are you there? We're going to link up to them right now.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly. So we hear you're at a protest at the National Assembly. Could you tell us what's happening right now?
So what is happening right now is that Nigerians from all walks of life are right here, you know, stating that the Senate President and the Speaker of the House of Representatives must do the right thing. They must do the right thing by the Nigerian youth, by the Nigerian women, by our girls, by our elderly, and for the history and for our hero stars.
Okay, so that's our guest, God bless Otubere. He's actually right now at the National Assembly protesting. One of the things that the governors had agreed was that Section 135 of the Act that allows for defected elections to stand as valid must be expended, must be removed, and that must be amended. So they're saying that because right now we have a lot of people going to the courts to defend certain malpractices that happen, and according to Section 135, these defected votes can't stand as valid in the course of things. So we can have our guest back. Mr. Otubere, are you there? So we have him back.
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes. So let me be clear. I would really like you to move away from where you are so we can hear you clearly. Is that possible?
Okay, that's very possible. So let me move a little bit forward.
Yes.
Is it better?
It should be better, I hope. So I think I wanted to be clear.
Okay.
Are you in solidarity with the position of the governor, the southern governors, yesterday on what they were asking concerning the electoral reform?
Absolutely, absolutely. We have been on this road for the last 2 years. We've dedicated our lives, our resources, our energy, just to ensure that results coming out of Nigeria's elections are not rising like Gary anymore. I cannot vote in Ikoyi. And before it gets to INEC headquarters in Ikoyi, my 200 that I saw will now become 2,000. And let me say this, what the southern governors did was not for themselves, was for the north, was for the south, was for the east, or for the west. Because the truth is this, how do we say it to the world? That in 2021, Nigeria will still conduct election in 2023, and we cannot transmit those results electronically. It is an aberration that our generation will not take. So on the issue of electronic transmission of results, I'm in solidarity with the southern government. Loud and clear.
Right, so what is your objective right now at the National Assembly? Who do you hope to see and hope to meet? Because I see cars passing behind you. Have you seen any lawmakers so far? Do you hope to see anybody? Or you're just protesting and hoping to get some kind of attention from the media?
So what we're doing today is what we call the last mile advocacy. We are not trying to see anybody. We have seen them one-on-one. We've seen them at the public hearing. We saw them at the committee stage. We saw them at the harmonization stage. We saw them at the constitution review stage. We had conversations with them. We drank water. We dined. And they promised us that this country's election will become better because of what we are working on. Today is not about seeing them. Today is about getting the Nigerians who voted for them to come to their office, to tell them that they will not sleep, they will not rest. So what has happened today is that today we put out a call to everyone. And Aisha Yusufu is here. I think I saw Deji and Drew. I saw Aria. I saw a lot of people.
Right.
People who don't agree politically are together here today saying one thing.
Right.
Transmit results electronically.
Okay.
And let me say this, Moradeo. How can you tell me that the president can spend 15 billion to have an election in this same country? Where to get people? Look, let me show you. Look at security men behind me, everywhere, in solidarity. The pain in this country is palpable, and everybody is feeling it. So I really do not want to say too much.
Yeah.
We didn't come here to see anybody. We came here to make our position.
Let me get in a few more questions in for you. God bless. Let me get a few more questions in for you. Go ahead, MPC.
So what do you think is the solution going forward? Do you have like a template of what you want adjusted in this electoral bill?
Absolutely, we have it.
Okay.
We have brought out specific sections of this bill that we want the National Assembly to ensure does not change. Let me take you people through the history of our work. This bill has been coming since 2020. In fact, the Kalaki-led Senate started this bill, but the president in his wisdom said it was too close to the election, and that was correct. Now, what has happened is that this bill has gone through first, second, third reading. It has gone through the harmonization, has gone through the committee stage, and we have the version of the bill that should be passed. What has happened is that some rogue members in the committee put out another version that they want to pass, and that is what we are saying no to. So the changes we want are in section 50, subsection 2, section 65, subsection 1, section 135 all the way down, section 88, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The biggest of all is section 50, subsection 2, that says that election results from the polling unit should be transmitted electronically. The reason is this, so that when I vote at my polling unit, and the PO and everybody in that polling unit sees that the result is 200, I can go home sleeping, knowing well that I not will announce 200. Not that when I get home, what I saw have to...
Right. Point taken.
Demand is clear.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. God bless. I mean, I think we've gotten the point very clearly. Thank you so much, and we just wish you the best in Abuja right now. That's Mr. God bless Otubere as a social commentator on the issue of electoral reform. Let's go on a break. When we come back, move on to other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still on the issue of this electoral reform, and the protesters have made a few valid points. You know, they want Nigerians in diaspora to be able to participate. They want the laws to change such that you have it a bit more uniform. So people know this amount that it costs for us to get the forms. They also want it such that it's electronic. Everything is automated these days. So why would we still be counting ballots, bulk papers at this time? 1, 2, come on. It's 2022.
2020.
I mean,
2021.
Where is that red?
So the point is, like, they are making a valid point, and we're hoping that this bill that they're about to pass must include these reforms. If not, the people are saying they're rejecting it. What are your own?
I don't understand why the lawmakers are so opposed to this.
You think
no, let me. Their fears that I've heard is that, you know, there'll be more possible rigging and all of that. But we are now writing exams, you know, and the mistakes that JAM made in the first year of CBT exams is not what they're doing. Those mistakes are taken care of. So we will have our teaching period, but we will get there. But we will have to start at some point. We can't keep saying, no, we'll perfect without starting. You know, let everything be perfect without starting, because we continue to disenfranchise a large number of Nigerians whose monies we need for development here. Every time when we need it, we have a group for them, diaspora Nigerians, that will now come for that. But when they need to join their mouth in what is happening at home for us to see the change that we need, we say no. Electronic voting is the way to go. There's we can't continue to even dilly-dally about it. Whatever we need to do now to perfect our own cyberspace, our internet and everything here should have already been done since 10 years ago. And we're already doing it in certain areas. Nigeria has one of the most perfect electronic system of banking around the world. Yes. They continue to refer to us in that area of banking. But we don't want to refer to ourselves as Africa's giants when it comes to that area of leadership.
Electronic banking.
Electronic banking. The way you take your mobile banking and do your mobile banking is not the same around the world.
Yeah. Are you sure?
Yes. Very sure.
Yes.
They continue to recommend Nigeria. Yes, I'm telling you.
Please.
YK.
Look, I suffer from the bank. I suffer from bank problems. So don't even bring that one.
Me and you are not suffering the same suffer.
Maybe because you're not updated yet.
Updated to where?
Could be.
Where do you want me to update to again?
So,
They will use POS. You won't see the money. You say you will be calling the bank. They will say, oh, we have problem. What?
We are more modern. I think that's just where.
More modern where?
A different generation, ma.
No. Listen.
Let's not
If you want to talk about election, talk about election. Don't bring bank. That's what I'm saying.
I also made an example of our exams.
Okay.
Our CBT and online exams are already at where we need them to go.
Yeah.
So we cannot continue to scatter this particular part of electronic voting and say it can't work. And we need to start somewhere.
Godwin has been holding for a while. Godwin, are you there? Godwin, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, I wanted to comment on this, what they are saying. I mean, the man who defended... Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, thanks so much for your contribution to the development of this country.
Thank you, sir.
Because you are doing that in your own way. That is the only way. That is where you have your power to do. I commend your efforts.
Thank you, sir.
The man who defended the road project, you know, when you talk to Nigerians, as if everybody are dollars. They don't have sense. You are saying the road was scoped, and they wanted the people who scoped it, they didn't scope it to get to where it's supposed to flow into a drainage. Is that correct? Can that be correct? Are you talking to fools? You are not talking to fools. It's just that young man is paying to his heart. He's not doing it for one person. He's not doing it for himself. How can you come out, you and partner, to tell the entire world that his job was scoped by a qualified engineer to repair a road, to prepare a drainage for a road, and
Oh, Mr. Godwin, we lost that call. Thank you so much for your thoughts on that.
Yeah, going back to the electoral reform that we're talking about, I think the Nigerians need to understand, our leaders need to understand that the world has changed. It's changing very fast, and we need to upgrade ourselves. So this is not the time to keep dwelling on analog. You know, everything is going computerized, and we need to go with it if we really want true development for our nation, or else the other nations will leave us behind. That's one. Secondly, when you propose a bill to lead people, and they say this is not how we want to be led, it would be unfair not to listen to them. So we have agitations at the National Assembly now saying that we agreed on something and you people went back, reneged on it, and changed certain things to suit yourself. Now, what is even the fear of this electronic? You don't want us to see the results. People are saying that because they do the, manual rigging and all of that, it will be difficult to do it when it comes to electronics, because as you are dropping, you'll be seeing the results. You know, like when you take polls and all of that, you'll be seeing it openly. So it's going to affect them, especially after they spent so much money trying to get to that position, and we know how these things work. But we need to understand that the leaders need to understand that the people do not want this. They want you to make everything clear. They want you to, adopt other people's transparency, people in diaspora. So give it to them. I expect them to call for another public hearing. Let us now analyze, what do you people want? How can we do it better? Right. If you need solutions, if you need experts to analyze for you and say, okay, if we start it like this, it's going to work like this, let us have a public hearing on
I think we also have to make that clear it up a bit, because electronic voting is different from electronic transmission of results. Yeah. So what they're agitating for is electronic transmission of results. Yeah. Because right now, we've not even gotten that level where we are electronically voting. I mean, we know in America where they're saying those that are broad can vote. We never reached that level. Where we are right now, okay, we'll vote, but let the results that say it's 200 here. I don't want to now get, that time is now 2,000. So let it be electronically transmitted such that the results are uniform and we know that there's no...
We want where the entire electoral body officials, like the one where the prosecution we have recently in the state, I think Benue State, entire electoral body, from the resident electoral commissioner to all the organs that worked during an election, prosecuted and convicted. We don't want such corruption. So if I'm collecting results in any place and we're uploading it immediately, let it be received on a server that everybody can access just by checking. You know, the way we can fact check things, we can do that immediately. Also, there's a requirement of this present elections sorry, what's the INEC doing now? Registration for new voters that requires a phone number in Nigeria for you to, to register online. I think that requirement should be softened to allow people outside the country also to register.
So we're going to wrap up with this, but I think we've made our points. We'll all await the bill. Hopefully it contains all Nigerians are agitating for, so that at least there's a semblance of democracy in our process when we do have elections. Let's go on a break. It's Tuesday. We can't but talk about health. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.